What is up, guys? So you can look at this as a bonus video. I've already uploaded a Titans video today, but this was kind of unavoidable with the title that you've probably already seen, and I wouldn't be surprised if you've just already heard about this in some way or another, and that is because, lo and behold, Tom Welling is returning to his role as Clark Kent, aka Superman, in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. So if you guys know already, it's been like the biggest speculated or theorized thing for a long time. Will Tom Welling return in this huge event? I mean, just because of the fact that it is precisely that. Crisis on Infinite Earths is truly like a movie level thing. It really does usually, if you would think about it, transcend TV, but now we're actually getting it on TV. It is really one of the biggest feats that DC has ever done or even attempted to accomplish. And with the Arrowverse, as we all know, for the longest time since The Flash season 1, we knew that was probably the end game. And after many years of multiple shows and multiple seasons, it truly is ready to happen, despite, you know, being scaled forward. And because of that, obviously, we've had other DCTV universes, for example, starting with Smallville. So obviously, with Tom Welling and, for example, myself growing up with this show, honestly, when I was a kid, man, I can't even think about how old I was. I was definitely a very young Boba. This comes from like Entertainment Weekly as well as like TV Insider. I guess they all got the scoop together. But as you should all already know, is that Tyler Hoechlin is returning with Elizabeth Tulloch as Lois Lane. But not only that, we're getting another Superman with Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come Superman for Crisis on Infinite Earths. But anyway, this is what Mark Guggenheim had to say about it. For 8 years, Arrow has stood on the shoulders of Smallville. Simply put, there would be no Arrow and no Arrowverse without it. So when we first started talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths, our first, second, and third priorities were getting Tom to reprise his iconic role as Clark Kent. To say that we're thrilled would be a Superman-sized understatement. Now, I couldn't agree more with Mark Guggenheim, and believe it or not, that is all there is to actually say about the matter. That is all that is out there. For example, we don't know the details about how he'll actually fit into the crossover. We don't even know if we'll find out. This is what Entertainment Weekly is saying as well, what he's even been up to in the 8 years since Smallville ended. But, you know, there was that comic book series, but I think, in my mind, I really can't imagine, now I could be wrong about this, like, let me just put that out there first, but I don't think we're going to see Tom Welling in, you know, the Superman suit. I would be absolutely blown away if he's in the Superman suit, just because Tom Welling has really made it, like, quite expressly clear in many years since Smallville that he wouldn't really want to reprise his role. But, you know, Clark Kent, on the other hand, is much more of a believable thing. Now, of course, he must have been offered something very sweet, let me put it that way, for him to agree to this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I bet he does, you know, care about the role. Like, obviously he spent 10 years of his life, but trust me, if you know a little bit about this, you know Tom Welling hasn't been the most enthusiastic about, you know, reprising his role as Clark Kent. But, you know, onto the theory side of things that you guys are probably here for as well, and how I think this will factor in and what I'm excited for. I'm just going to assume, unless, you know, we see differently in the crossover, that he will just be reprising his role as Clark Kent. This doesn't mean we're not going to see him like super powered or anything like that, or have, you know, not have any amazing scenes. I'm sure he would just appear as an older Clark Kent. I mean, obviously he will look older despite the Kryptonian aging thing, and that's going to be interesting actually. But, you know, I think there will still be scenes of him in Clark Kent attire, and, you know, he may be saving someone or something like that. We will probably see him fly and all of that good stuff, but I just hope he doesn't die in like a stupid way, or like after 5 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that means he will die, but this is Crisis on Infinite Earths, and maybe it is a way that they could put his character out for once and for all and put a bow on it maybe. I mean, for all I know, he's kind of like Harrison Ford of his character in Star Wars, and he just is looking for any opportunity for his character to die so he doesn't have to ever reprise it again. I mean, yeah, I actually kind of believe that. So maybe they'll find some really kick-ass dramatic way of Tom Welling's Clark Kent dying in Crisis, whether it be from the Anti-Monitor or some other kind of thing, and maybe he does some amazing feat that saves one of our other heroes. But also, I just hope that he's had a successful career as Superman on his Earth. Like, I hope they don't really factor in some kind of depressing kind kind of element where he dropped off as Superman and he's just been living some kind of grubby Clark Kent life ever since. I mean, they could go that way. It could be interesting, but I think it would be a bit, I don't know, I was about to say predictable, but I can just imagine them doing that. And maybe that's one way, like, Tom Welling will not get into the suit. Maybe he's just going to sport a jacket like he used to with the famous Superman symbol or House of L symbol on there. Honestly, this is just pure speculation territory now, but there are definitely things that I'm looking forward to with his return. That should go without saying. And also, just like what Earth, his Smallville is on. Of course, we've already seen Smallville. We saw that in a previous crossover with Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. They actually used the very set that Smallville used. But also, everyone, I can't exactly talk about Tom Welling returning to DCTV without also factoring in the possibility now of, yes, you may have guessed it, Michael Rosenbaum returning as Lex Luthor. Now, hold your horses. I'm not saying that he's returning or anything like that. But my God, I would do anything. I love this guy so much. I listen to his podcast. I don't know if you guys are even aware that he has a podcast. It's great. But for the longest time, if you would have asked maybe anyone who looks into the Arrowverse quite a bit and just its history and stuff, we would have probably said it doesn't look likely that Tom Welling's returning. But now it's happened. So does this mean that, honestly, if the near impossible has happened with Tom Welling returning as, his role as Clark Kent, aka Superman, could this mean that they're going to somehow bag Michael Rosenbaum? Now, it's entirely possible that because of John Cryer's Lex Luthor on Supergirl, that maybe he hasn't been approached, but maybe he has. That's all I guess I can say about that. I don't really have any off the top of my head ideas about how they could factor in another Lex Luthor, because we already know John Cryer's Lex Luthor is going to factor into Crisis. But then again, this is Crisis. They can probably find multiple roles for multiple, Lex Luthors, just like they have for multiple Supermans, with Brandon Routh and also Tyler Hoechlin, and now Tom Welling. This is just, as you can tell, just absolutely exciting to hear about. And all of our minds are probably racing right now as fast as flash time with what could happen in Crisis now, because, yeah, I'm sure they've got a few more surprises to pull out the bag. Now, who knows as well, guys? Maybe they could factor in the fact that we know we're getting Kevin Conroy in Crisis on Infinite Earths as Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. Maybe Tom Welling's Clark Kent knows him. Maybe they're acquainted with each other already after, fighting together before. I mean, I know that may be a bit of a stretch, but come on, you can't blame me for wanting to see those two have some screen time together. And, this is alongside everyone else as well. I'm also just excited to see the cast of Arrow and The Flash get to have legitimate scenes with the Smallville Clark Kent, just because that must be so exciting for them, because they're all fans of this history as well. So I'm sure it's as surreal for them as it is for us. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this video there. I don't really have much else to say about it. As you could tell, this was already quite the off-the-cuff video, but I would absolutely love to hear all of your ideas about how Tom Welling could factor into Crisis. I mean, obviously, it's Crisis, so there's always a way he could factor in, but what do you think he's been up to since Smallville was ended? Do you think he has been a successful Superman, or do you think maybe he actually hung up the cape? I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do that, so let me know all of your ideas there. Do you think there's a chance Michael Rosenbaum and other big names could return just like that? That would be awesome as well. I would love to hear if you guys are down for that. I mean, he is a great Lex Luthor. But leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe for more Arrowverse updates just like this. Don't forget to check out my top pinned comment in the comment section. That's where my Discord link is, and I would love to talk about this over a chat with you guys in my server. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.